Welcome back, you guys. We're discussing the Gorge Heroes Club here on Localite with RaeLynn Ricarte, and we were talking about these boxes and the supplies that go into them and stuff. But where do you guys get the supplies?
The community. We've set it up really nicely, because if everybody does a little bit, then nobody has to do a lot. And so instead of asking for big giant amounts of money, although I have gotten some really good contributions, we just ask the community, think about the soldiers and bring in a bag of candy, roll a couple rolls of toilet paper. It can be really simple, and if everybody does a little bit, then nobody has to do a lot. And it's like sending Christmas every month. It's the only thing they have to look forward to.
Yeah.
And they get we have people that make cards, hand stamped cards. They get a signed card from everyone wishing them well. And
oh, that's great.
I put a great thought in there. I always try to inspire them to great thoughts. Started that with my sons, man. So
yeah. Well, now, were you actually the one who started the group?
Yes.
Okay, so you actually started it, and now that it's a nonprofit, it became a nonprofit in 2009?
Right, and I'm working really closely with Terry Hansen, who was really involved with Soldiers Angels, so she was kind of doing the same thing, and she's our vice president now.
Okay.
And so we got together and decided it's better to be your own nonprofit, for independence, and also because you can apply for grants.
Okay.
And we just got a really great grant, and so we're doing that now too, to get ready for the big influx of soldiers that we're going to be packing boxes for. So.
Yeah. And so people can donate resources.
We ask people, sponsor a box for $12 a month. That pays shipping. It's that easy. Just commit to sponsor a box, for a year or, however long you can. Bring us a bag of candy. People at my workplace, I work at the Hood River News, are always they're just used to it now. My desk is covered with toilet paper and freezer pops, and
people are like, "What is going on over there?"
They got used to it. It was kind of like, they don't even ask questions anymore. They just bring it back from the front desk,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, so as a mother of a soldier yourself,
a Marine, you got to differentiate.
A Marine, okay, there you go. What's that like? I mean, there's weeks and weeks and weeks that go by that you don't hear anything. I mean, that's got to be tough as a mom.
It is tough, and you live for those calls, but then sometimes you almost wish you didn't get them because they're full of all kinds of danger, and when something happens, they can't tell you exactly, so you talk around it kind of in your code, and he'll tell you to watch the news, and the next thing you know, you're seeing a report, a big explosion that killed a handful of Marines, and he was there because he told you, basically.
Wow.
So it's tough sometimes.
And this is his fourth deployment?
Yes. And this time, the first two times he was a platoon leader, so he was in charge of men, and the third, he went into a special team on his third round in Iraq, and now he's on this special team in Afghanistan, and this is a pretty bad deployment. It's an assault force, so they're out arresting the bad guys and, hunting them down. So his job is pretty dangerous.
Yeah.
And you just have to accept that's his destiny,
So what about the first deployment? What was that like for you?
Well, I wanted to curl up in a fetal position in the closet when he left. I mean, because you picture your kid going over there, and for one thing, you realize that you don't have contact anymore unless it's on their terms. You can't just pick up the phone and call them anymore. You don't know what the conditions are like. You picture people are shooting at them all the time, and that's your baby.
Yeah.
And so we have the moms on the first deployments are usually the worst because you don't have the coping skills because you don't know what to expect. You learn to be really nice to yourself on deployment day.
Yeah. Well, how has your approach changed over 4 deployments and just the span of time?
Well, you just say this day is going to really suck, so I'm going to spend it with friends, or I'm going to do this. It makes me feel better, and you just try to get through it because you're usually looking at up to a week before you even hear from them as they're getting in country, and then they'll usually notify you and let you know they're in there.
Okay.
And then some of the parents, when they're on an approved base, they can Skype and do computer access. My son doesn't have access to computers, so you just have to wait for that SATCOM call every once in a while.
As a mother, do you think because you're a mother of a Marine,
and
but many of these guys obviously have wives. Do you think it's more difficult on the mother or the wife?
I think a young wife, because if they've got kids at home, they're single parenting, they're trying to worry about the husband, trying to keep the kids in order, trying to deal with their own emotional self. So I really have a lot of empathy for, the young families that are in there. Because when you're a mom, you get good coping skills by the time you get through the teenage years.
Yeah.
You can pretty much deal with what's out there.
Yeah. And most of these moms are very new. I mean, they're
Yeah.
new moms, and probably even recently married, and now their husband's gone off. And
Yeah, we have some young wives that come in and they're just cute. They're sending biscotti and all these fancy things in the box, and you're thinking, didn't your husband just have dysentery? Well, come over here. I'm going to show you, what he's probably needing out there in the field.
Right, the biscotti is probably not the best.
Yeah,
idea.
the romantic box is probably a really cute idea, but what he's really needing is foot cream and Modi Made. So.
Right. Well, and your son recently was like on a 70-day stretch without a shower.
Yeah, that just grosses me out. He tries to tell me they don't smell that bad because they don't eat processed food, but I'm not buying it. I told him you probably smell like a goat. Anyway, they can't clean up, and so
wow,
it's pretty tough.
Yeah.
So wet wipes are, and for the first time ever, I know things are bad because he told me he really liked the clean socks I was sending, because I've been sending clean socks, and I'll say, how are your underwear holding up, or whatever. Poor kids, Anyway, but for the first time, he said, really appreciate the socks. So I know that conditions are pretty tough.
Gosh, wow. Well, you guys, we're going to continue the conversation after the break, and don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.